Thanks for tuning in. This video is about how to add value to your commercial real estate. In this channel, we talk a lot about buyers. We're going to focus a little bit on owners and sellers. What can you do to make your commercial real estate worth more? This tip is make sure you're re-examining your pass-throughs at least once a year, if not twice. So what are pass-throughs? It depends on your lease, but oftentimes commercial real estate leases allow landlords to pass through certain expenses as they change over time. The purpose of that is to give landlords a little bit of protection from expenses that could go up astronomically, sometimes outside of their control. So oftentimes, especially mom and pop landlords, will sign leases and they look at that base rent and that's the amount that their tenant pays them and they never re-examine it. They don't think about the pass-throughs, the other things that they could charge. They don't think about how their expenses change over time. They just say, oh yeah, that's the base rate. That's what they've been paying. We're all good to go. That's fine if that's how you want to run your building, but that's obviously not going to optimize the value. If you wanted to get a broker opinion of value on that, they're going to ask you about pass-throughs, and if you say you don't do them, that's something that's going to be factored in. On top of that, with pass-throughs, if you let your tenants get too used to not paying them, or if they get the feeling that you're not paying attention to them or never addressing them, it's going to be that much harder to talk about 5 years down the line. Imagine if you're a commercial real estate buyer and you buy a building where the previous guys had never passed through operating expense increase pass-throughs, and then you go to buy it, those tenants are going to mutiny when all of a sudden they're paying for all these pass-throughs that they hadn't previously been charged for. You'll notice they won't say, wow, that was fortunate that I didn't get charged previously. They're going to look at it as, wait, where did this expense come from? I don't like it. And then you as the buyer, you're the bad guy. So that's why buyers are going to be very cognizant of what the previous owner did on pass-throughs. I'm not saying that you should be charging somebody for things that you shouldn't. I'm just saying to take a look at your lease and make sure you understand what you could be passing through. Make sure you quantify that. You understand, okay, how much have I been leaving on the table by not doing these pass-throughs? And is it worth it for me to get everything up to date? My recommendation is to do that, because if you wait too long and you let too many years pass, when you circle back to those tenants, it's going to be a lot less pleasant conversation. Tenants don't like pass-throughs, obviously. I know some landlords that will argue, well, I don't pass through and my tenants really appreciate it. And that very well could be the truth. Some tenants are a little more sophisticated and they understand, hey, this guy could have charged me these pass-throughs and didn't. But a lot of times they're just going to forget about that. And I don't know that it necessarily gives you the value that you think it does. Obviously, if you're doing pass-throughs, don't just pass things through because you feel like you should be able to. Of course, you got to point to very specific lease language that shows what you can and can't pass through, and make sure you don't overstep. Because if you're passing through things that you're not supposed to, your tenant is really going to take that the wrong way, and it's going to open you up for all kinds of problems. So that is one of many reasons you should consider hiring a property manager, is they can give a unbiased second perspective of that language. Make sure you're doing your pass-throughs correctly. If you don't feel like figuring it out, oftentimes a property manager will do that for you. You can allow them to be the bad guy in a sense. You can just basically hire someone to look at your lease and do those pass-throughs. Obviously, you want to look, if you own one small piece of commercial real estate and your pass-throughs are going to be worth an extra $500 a year and you're going to pay $500 a month for a property manager to do that, then maybe it doesn't make sense. But with most projects, you want to keep an eye on your pass-throughs and make sure that you're up to date on those. A property manager can definitely help. There's all kinds of different pass-throughs. We're not even going to get into that in this video. Just as a tip for building owners, make sure you're looking at your leases and understanding your pass-throughs and optimizing those. So thank you again for tuning in. Hopefully this helps the building owners out there make their building worth as much as they can. If you ever are thinking about selling, we're happy to put together a broker opinion of value for you to let you know what your building could be worth. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.